you have something to share in relation to it.
Aaron, this is Andy. So you said a whole lot, and I don't know, it just really hit me, and I want to be really transparent as best as I can, and try to articulate what I feel as best as I can.
Yes, I'm with you.
Safe space.
Yes.
So I feel like I am, or have recently been on or had a collision.
Mm-hmm.
And that collision has been my passion to serve others.
Yes.
Women. And organically and naturally to be able to be an encourager and a supporter of women. And it's something that I've done for quite some time. It's an gift, and I keep stressing that part, just the natural part.
Right.
Art gift.
Right.
It's
right.
a gift from God.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm extremely passionate about. However, there had come a point where I found myself depleted.
Yes. Yes.
I never thought of myself as an empath until maybe recent years.
Yeah.
Learning more about what an empath really is.
Yes.
And then to some point, also an enabler.
Yes.
But I think my challenge is I don't want to lose my zest.
Yes.
And passion for what I know that I'm called and gifted to do.
Yes.
Because there's a little bit of, and I'll be honest, this is the transparent part. There's a part of that becomes a little bit resentful.
Yes.
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 Towards the end of the journey, I meet or have relationships, lots of relationships with women from all age ranges, all walks of life.
Yes.
For a reason. And I oftentimes look at these relationships as some can be seasonal, some can be long, and some have been lifelong.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I think that these are seasonal relationships for the most part, so I don't set my expectation up too high.
Right. Right.
But you can become very attached. I think the disappointment comes in when you really give of yourself, and I need to know that balance. When you give of yourself, your time, your energy, especially, I'll go hard for folks for women,
right,
where I feel like I can give a word or just give some love, and it's usually just on that level. I'm not giving out my finances and
right.
That I have some boundaries in place, but it does take a lot to exert and give out all of your energy.
Yes, yes, it does. Let me tell you something. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I mean that was pretty much it. I probably would have just been going in a big circle.
Oh, you're good. You are so
just that path where I'm like collided, and I don't want to lose this passion. Now I'm built for work, but I feel that and I'm not a life coach or anything like that. It's just something that's just organic for me. But like I feel so selfish right now. Like I just want it to be about me right now.
Let me tell you, and that's what it should be. Let me give you some permission here. First of all, let me first start over by saying thank you for trusting me to be open and transparent with me and share what you just shared. The first reason why I say that is because this is and will always be safe space. I am and will always be safe space in that way. The second reason why I say that is because I can totally relate. And I'm about to give you something that I think is going to really help you with this and really help anybody, all of us. I can't hear this enough. It's refreshing to me, even though I wrote it, even though I've, been able to share it a number of times. Not only, I honor so deeply your self-awareness and knowing where you are. Knowing that you are at the place where as you said, you do not want your passion to be wiped away because of your giving and the natural resentment that's starting to happen because your giving is not being reciprocated. So, not only is it that you don't want to lose your passion, but are not trying to lose your compassion as well. So, here's what I have for you that I think would be something to use. Now, when I share this with you, again, this is a writing that I have, so it's where, and I'm going to share with everyone. In fact, what I may do is see if I can copy and paste this, put it on the Instagram post real quick while we're in this experience, because I want you to keep it close. It's also in my Medium writings that I was saying. It's on in my self-care journey in my Medium writings. So it's there for you to be able to refer back to, Andy. Here you go. This is what this is called that you're facing. It's burnout versus compassion. It's burnout versus compassion. I'm gonna go through a couple notes. I'm gonna give you some definitions and some ways to think about it. This compassion and this passion that you have, this passion is also tied in with compassion. It's sympathetic pity and concern for the sufferings or misfortunes of others, as well as just in whatever way you are, looking out for others or trying to help, trying to serve. It's also sympathetic consciousness of others' distress together with a desire to alleviate it or help them or be of service or be of assistance or support. So that's compassion, sympathetic pity and concern for others' misfortune and the desire to alleviate it. Here's burnout. And I heard the term burnout for a while, but I didn't know that this was tied in with it for this particular topic that we're talking about. Burnout, on the other hand, is feeling overwhelmed, depleted, exhausted, undone, overcome, broken, resentful, angry, all kinds of these things by someone else's, because of someone else, and either what they're giving you back or because of someone else's difficulties and our desire to help or fix the situation. That's burnout. When you start to feel that resentment, when you're feeling the resentment because you're like, damn, and you're overwhelmed, it starts to overwhelm you, burns you out, it depletes you, it just makes you come undone. Compassion requires the balance of equanimity to acknowledge the suffering or pain of others and be open to helping, while knowing that you can't solve every problem for everyone, fix the world, or force others to make different decisions. Extending compassion to the point of your own inconvenience, Andy, is unhealthy and detrimental not only to yourself, but also those who you're trying to assist. You can have compassion and empathy, but not at the expense of your own mental or physical well-being, sanity, capacity, or health, because that's what drives you to resentment. Practice focusing. Okay. Slide this last piece into a different category as far as an actual formula, a practice that we can all do, a mental practice that we can do to work with ourselves with this. You can practice focusing on a difficult person and mentally extending phrases of loving kindness toward them. Now you're doing the mental work here so that you're not putting yourself in harm's way. This will help you to develop compassion without being triggered, facing burnout, resenting them, or putting yourself in harm's way to help them or to help a situation. So I really, really think that what we're talking about here is burnout versus compassion. That's where that resentment comes from. When you have passion or compassion, but it's not reciprocated, and it's like, damn, I put in all this time, this energy, these kind of things, I sacrificed, and that will rob you of that passion. Andy, did that resonate with you at all or in any way?
Absolutely. It absolutely did. And I appreciate you sharing what you just shared. I never thought about the burnout part. And when you talk about the resentment and not getting the reciprocity, so to speak,
yes,
I think it's when you spend so much time, and this is the part where I really have to check myself.
right.
Spend so much time nurturing a situation, person, a relationship,
Right.
and really honestly don't need, and I shouldn't say don't need, I don't want anything in return as
Right.
far as compensation or of I don't need the
Right.
money,
But
you know.
appreciation would be fucking helpful.
And you know what, Aaron?
God damn.
I think it's to see. I think it's to see some type of effort.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're a dumping ground.
Right.
And I have my husband kind of said it best. You know, he started getting a little frustrated. He's like, oh, "Okay, here comes another project." You know, and I kind of resented him for saying that. Like, you just don't understand the complexity of these relationships and women. And,
right. Right.
But he started to say that these are projects, babe. You pick up these projects, and this is not, for me, it's not to be derogatory towards
for sure.
individual, but when you see this cycle, and it's like, who am I to judge? But you see this continuous cycle, and it goes on for several months or years, and then it's the part where I say, I don't want to lose my zeal or compassion for, or passion for, like you said, compassion for.
Right.
It, you know, perhaps it's the fact that I'm not an actual life coach, but even certified, that is. I know I'm anointed and called to do it,
right,
and have gifts to do it. But I guess even just from listening to what you were sharing, even if you do have that licensing to do that type of work, I would assume that you can only do so much. That
that's
counselor
it.
can do so much.
That's it.
You know, I need to know where my line of demarcation is.
Yes. Yes.
But thank you, Aaron.
Yes.
You just have a wealth of insight. And like I said, once again, the atmosphere and just the set. And I appreciate you.
Yes, and I appreciate you too. Thank you. You know, the thing that I love most is, you know, one of my favorite quotes in life. This one I can't take credit for. I lovingly and happily give this credit where the credit is due. One of my favorite quotes in life is by famous singer Mahalia Jackson. If I can help somebody, then my living isn't in vain. And I always add on to that by saying, since I already know my living isn't in vain, then I'll just spend my time helping people with anything that I can. You know, a word or a song, a smile, and I love you, a safe space. And so thank you for affirming me in that way. And so everybody, while we're hanging out here, I'm actually over on in my Word Swag app, and that's an app that allows you to do like you can put captions on pictures and that kind of thing. And so I'm putting up this burnout versus compassion. You're going to see it on Instagram very shortly, and it's just going to say burnout versus compassion, and then to read the caption, and that's going to have that entire writing that I just did, that entire writing. So as I'm chopping it up with this next person, as we're chopping it up, I'm finishing that and putting that up. And by all means, please go over, just, you know, drop a like receipt of like, we see it, I see it, wow, you know, whatever. Just so I can know that you see it and it's there and that, you know, it's useful to you. And we'll keep this thing going and having fun. So on that tip, sorry, I'm getting back to I just saved the picture, so I'm getting back to Clubhouse now. All right, here we go. I want to say thank you again. Is there anyone else here on the stage? Again, this part right here, the rest of this experience is purely just us being able to just chop it up and share and converse, be transparent if we like. You know, this is a safe space about how we can relate to these topics. You know, the first topic being loving kindness, attachment versus loving kindness. And then, we just chopped it up for a few about burnout versus compassion and just how all these things tie together. So does this, resonate for anyone else? And again, by all means, please, I would love to just know a point of connection for you.
Aaron and Andy, I just pinged LT into this room because she and I had a lot of conversations around the topic that you just brought up, Andy, and I would love for you, if you haven't already, to hear her insights. Those of you who know LT, who invited me here to Clubhouse, know that she doesn't call herself a life coach, but that's what she is.
Right.
She would say it, that's who she be, that's who she is, regardless of what she calls herself. And she shared a lot of stories about, that exact feeling with, feeling empathetic so that the passion she has for women and their concerns, she touches that. She addresses that in you in the most transparent, safe kind of way.
Right.
And she has shared with me, in the process of her connecting with women to provide that support based on the experiences that she has had, she has felt burnout. She has, developed that unconscious level of expectation because of the levels she was giving to share because of her passion. But she felt like she wasn't, there were some women who might not, 6 months later, as you mentioned, still might feel like they're in the same spot that they were 6 months earlier. And she talks about how that becomes a frustration for her personally, even though she may not even know these women in real life, but she has developed a connection, an attachment, if you will.
Yes.
Because let's be real, all of us have egos, regardless of how humble we are, and we all connect with the ego in us to know that if we can help someone, that feels good.
Yes.
And so it feels frustrating if you're giving that and you don't feel like, not necessarily they're not appreciating it, maybe they are, but you don't see any forward progression.
Yes.
And she talks about how that could be frustrating. So long story short, if you can connect with her on that topic, I think she could give you some great insights.
100%.
Something else you said resonated with me, and that was the resentment part. I don't connect with people and feel the level of resentment in my professional life, but I do connect with people and feel it in my personal life, and I guess that's because I'm a compartmentalizer. So I can do that very effectively.
Right.
Certain people belong on certain shelves, and that's how I operate with them.
Right.
So I think in my experiences, what I want to share with you in that, your level of feeling resentment toward that is to say, I heard you say you don't want to lose your passion about what you do. And that's what brought me to the thinking of LT. She has reminded me over and over again, what you do is very important. I don't want to minimize it, but who you be, who you are, is more important. That's it. First. So while you may feel moments when you may, have a fear of losing your passion in what you do, when you feel that, that's normal.
Yes.
Feel it, sit in it, recognize it, be aware of it. But immediately when you recognize it, take yourself to the other side of, wait a minute, this is just who I do. This is what I do. This is not who I am. As your husband said, this is a project. And not to sound, insensitive, but it is, in effect, because you come first. And so if you can align your expectations with who you be and not what you do, then you can say, you know what, this person is in their experience. They may not be ready to feel mine or to hear mine or to experience mine. So if you stay in that level of awareness to say, I can't be resentful for them because of what they don't know or what they're not ready for or what they're not consciously able to open themselves up to. I have to stay focused on what my mission here is. And then that way you can compartmentalize it. You can separate yourself to say, I don't have to feel some type of way about it anymore because it's not my issue. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm being who I'm supposed to be. And then there won't be those struggles that you may have. I think that has helped me.
Yeah.
And I hope that helps you. And then lastly, my last point, as I'm rambling, is
I want
to go back to something you said about, that emotional intelligence. And the emotional intelligence has been a focus of mine for the past 12 months, where I saw that in my giving enable some things in other people. And then when I was finally at a point where I could say, oh, you know what, this isn't healthy for me to be as attached as I am. I need to compartmentalize this a bit further. And so when I'm able to do that, I process things, I move to the safest place for me to be to operate in that environment, and I'm aligned, then what? That other person that I sort of pull back on, they feel it, they see it. Whether I said I was going to do it or not, they feel it, they see it.
Right.
And they have come back to me and said, well, you know what I noticed, Karen? I know I did this. I know I pulled away. I know I went in my cave. But when you did it back to me, that wasn't fair.
Yeah.
When I had to, at first I was like, wow, they're right. Because like you said, Aaron, the empath in me started processing, analyzing myself, saying, you're right, you know what? That really wasn't fair. They pulled back because of their own issues, which are not mine, but I didn't feel comfortable in it, so then I pulled back to operate in alignment with myself.
Right.
Was that fair? But then the other side of it kicked in and said, wait a minute, Karen, don't forget, as you said, Aaron, remember.
Yes.
The pieces back together.
Yes.
And remember that I did this for my good. I didn't do it for their comfort and safety and security. I did it for mine.
Yes.
So that's when I kind of laugh now when I get that response. And I say, you're right, I did pull back. But what came first?
Yes.
What came first? And I had to respond in a way that was safe for me. So as I don't hold resentment towards you for your pulling back and the reasons that were unique to you,
yes, you can't. Yeah.
Resentment toward me because I did it too.
Yes.
If I pulled back first, I would have not had to respond in that way. So
yes.
I don't have an issue with you. If you got an issue with me because I pulled away, then this tells us where we need to be further along going forward. And there it is.
And I like one of the quotes that comes up in the accountability morning show experience, that, you know, what you think of me is none of my business. I think that might be Auntie Gina that says that. What you think about me is none of my business. And that's what I love about what you're saying, Karen, because what happens at the end of that is that you give a person the opportunity to understand you clearly on what you need to do for you. And yes, I am being unapologetic. I'm going to read my quote again from earlier. Don't be apologetic for what you need for your healing, mental well-being, and sanity, especially when it's healthy. No one else is walking in your shoes, so others' judgment should be taken with a grain of salt, or, if not helpful, dismissed altogether with a polite thanks so much for your concern, of course. And I mentioned this to Karen yesterday. Another one of my original quotes that goes along with the walking in shoes thing is real simple. Start caring when they start wearing your shoes. And I like to add on to that, and buying them. So I love it because at some point, you really just get to the point where you're like, okay, I'm not even anymore attached to you even understanding what I'm saying or understanding what I need from me. I am no longer attached. I know what I need. That's all that matters. And I hold you in a space where I understand how you feel, it's considered, and it will not rule the thing that I know I need to do for me. And that's it. I let the chips fall where they literally may. So yes, Karen, you could not have affirmed more me in that space. And I also want to say to everyone, the post is up. Okay, so if you pop over to my IG page, and please, if you would do so, I thoroughly thank you right now. If you hit my Instagram bio link, and not the Instagram bio link, I'm sorry, you hit my Instagram link in my bio, and you go over the very first post is burnout versus compassion. And you can read the caption. And the caption is everything that I just shared on burnout versus compassion. You can read it there, you can save it, I also, now you can't do this on Instagram because Instagram doesn't allow for links that you can click on inside the caption. But if you look at this same post on my Facebook page at Aaron Hill TV, same exact post, you'll see the link that's in this caption where it says, here's the video I did on it. And you'll be able to click that. And the whole video is just about burnout versus compassion. I would love it, love it, love it if you consume that. And just, for what it's worth, there's some other things that I shared in there that may or may not have been mentioned here. But anyway, that's there. And also drop a line there, if you will, as far as your thoughts on this topic. Drop a line on my Facebook post in the comment section. It could just be a couple words. It could be a whole explanation, like whatever you're talking about here or sharing. And no pressure. If not, just thanks for knowing where to see that information so you can refer to it when you need it. Whew. Yes. So thank you again, Karen. And I want to open up the floor again. Again, we are in the part of this experience where we're just sharing about what was talked about today in the way that resonates with us or made us think about a reflection. So I want to say hello to Trish, and again, Tanya, Felicia, Heather. And so if there's anything you want to share, by all means, someone can just open up their mic and go ahead and share.
Can I really quickly, before we move on, Karen, I want to just say check on 3 points that you shared.
By all means.
I really appreciate that. Like I said, we have this type of space, and it just reminds me how it is for us to network, come together, and I like to say fellowship with us. Because sometimes we go through and we think that we're on an island by ourselves, and I have not met anyone that I could, or even had a conversation with anyone rather, that could relate.
Right.
So I just really appreciate you sharing that and just confirming some things that I felt, and even on that last part that you were sharing regarding resentment and whatnot. I will try to connect with LT as well. And but thank you, Karen. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Andy. She's done a lot of work and conversation around that, so she would be awesome to connect with.
100%.
Also, could I say something too?
Yes, by all means.
As empaths, we also have to make sure that we get self-care, like he was saying. You have to take that time for you, because doing for others so much, it does drain you, because we're so sensitive to other people's feelings, and can feel what they feel. So that drains you. It's like somebody else is hurt, then I'm hurt for them because I care.
Right.
And then when you put all of that into other people, you have less for yourself.
Right.
So just like Karen was saying, sometimes if you know that that person is toxic, and then they start projecting that toward you, you have to maybe pull back sometimes. It may just be for a moment for them to get themselves together, or you just have to say, I'm going to have to love you from afar, because now you're affecting my peace.
Right.
And that is something that you have to protect above all else.
Yes.
That's hard for us to do, but at some point we get strong enough to say, okay, I have to walk away, because God did give you that gift, and then he'll give you the gift of walking away as well, because that in that moment is going to separate you, and you realize that you can't look at that person the same way again.
Yes, I could not agree with you more on that. Tanya, thank you so much for sharing. I want to add to and piggyback off of what Tanya is saying, and I'm going to give it to you in a way that's in another writing that I wrote, and it puts a spin on it that is another metaphor we can relate to. So the quote is, if you keep going out of your way to help someone who's not trying to help themselves, you're the horse not drinking the water, not them. Don't don't go from leading the horse to being the horse. Sometimes when you think you're taking the horse to the water, you're actually the dehydrated and confused horse that hasn't been drinking the waters of acceptance. Learn that fast, and you'll realize, really, you're the only horse that needs to make sure they're drinking the water. Then you'll be able to accept the horses that aren't willing to do what it takes to quench their thirst, or worse, to save their own lives. Thank you. I just wanted to share that. In fact, I'm getting ready to reshare that as the first post on my Facebook page in the next 5 seconds, if you want to refer back to that and be able to hold on to that. Is there anybody else that, again, on this topic of either burnout versus compassion, these things we're talking about as far as knowing your balance, and then what we started off as far as attachment versus loving kindness, is there anybody where anything that, we've been talking about so far resonates, stirs something up for you, that you can relate to?
Hi, I wanted to share, and I think I came in a little late, but what I heard about is burnout versus passion.
Yeah.
And one of my quotes that I take with me in regards to burnout is setting yourself on fire to warm someone else.
I love that.
And that happens when the overwhelm begins and you're now on the verge of losing that passion that you have.
Right.
And as Karen was saying, that you need to align with who you are and be who you should be and what you do. Because instead of focusing on helping someone, focusing on serving a client or customer, focus on what you are actually trying to achieve. Because when you do that, you will find that you won't lose yourself, you won't lose your zeal, and you won't confuse that passion with actually being a task or a project. But it now becomes more like a lifestyle. Because in emotional intelligence, the number one thing or the number one pillar is self-awareness. And I've learned through my experience with other women and my clients that you need to get in line or incline with your inner child. You need to know who you are and what you want to see in the lives of others. Because it's not that you're trying to create a life for others or you're trying to tell them what to do or you're trying to control them, but you're trying to control your energy. You're trying to control what energy they have, make sure that it doesn't come back onto you, right? So if they're toxic, you don't bring that energy into your life. Right? So that energy that you have from your passion for a particular thing or service that you want to provide, be in line with who you are, that you don't allow others to drain that positive energy, that supportive energy, that energy that you want to transform, change, or provide a full cycle for someone else's life. And that's very important. So you don't feel overwhelmed, you don't feel like you're obligated, because you are in control. You have to know how to find yourself in the midst of everything before you can actually go out and share with others.
100%. 100%. I thank you so much for sharing that. And I want to go back to that first quote that you dropped, which was, it's like setting yourself on fire in order to warm others. If you could, one of the things that we do in this experience is, if you, there's a lot of quotes that I drop and that's dropped here. And so what we try to do is put them on my first Instagram post, where I just put this quote or another room of quotes, so that we can continue to have it as a gem, continue to use it as a mantra, and to just have that remembering. I love the way that was put, and it's why I love a good quote. But yes, so like you said, You have to be aware of yourself and your intentions and not allow others to pull from that. I want to actually even share this that continues with that thought. So one of the things that I like within this is we can stand in different places as far as how to extend compassion without being burned out, without it pulling from our wellspring. One of the things I like about Felicia, there's Felicia, I just PTR. One of the things I like about what Felicia says is being able to fill your cup and being able to give from the overflow as opposed to giving from the source that is what holds you together, is what keeps you strong. And so that's why this resiliency training is so good, when we just work with things like mindfulness and meditation and emotional intelligence and these kind of things. So check this out. This is another way of thinking about how to work with other people and to be compassionate while not burning yourself out. Remember that two of the simplest but most impactful and effective ways to apply generosity is to let someone be who they are as long as they aren't harming anyone, and to be present with someone during a rough time. You may not be able to take away their pain or suffering, but your presence will make them feel like they're not alone, which is invaluable and irreplaceable. And in a lot of ways, that is what helps to take away people's pain and suffering, knowing that they're not alone. And so remember that. Those are two of the simplest ways that you can practice also extending generosity with difficult as well as easygoing people to really build your resilience and giving capacity without being taken advantage of course. Remember, you're not condoning negativity or detrimental behavior. You're activating change by setting an example and not stooping to such low levels. So it's about 11:57. I think we're going to probably wrap this up in the next couple minutes, but as we do that, I want to again open the floor. If there's anyone else who has something that was on their heart that related to these topics that we've been talking about, whether it brought up an experience for you that you had where something we said here today resonated with you, whether it taught you something that you didn't know and that it allowed you to walk away with, or what have you, or if you're just grateful and you just want to share that too. I want to open up the floor again for anyone who would like to share any thought that they have relating to all the beautiful things that happened over these past 2 hours.
And I just want to share, I'm getting ready to hop out and have another room. But
Okay.
oh gosh, this space today has been, oh my God, just amazing as usual. Trish came through and dropped the gem. Thank you, my sister. That was powerful. And I just wanted to say to, before I go, Andy and Karen, so you know what, thank you for the work that you do, and I understand that resentment because I felt that myself, but also being on the other end where people poured into me at a time when I didn't know what to do with it, right? Mm-hmm. And so I just wanted to say, don't give up on what you're doing and what you do, whether you see the seeds of it right away or not. It's women like you guys who poured into women like me when I was in those trauma places. Help me be the woman I am today. So I just wanted to, I was like praying and like, what could I say? But just being transparent to know that people like you guys, when I was in those spaces, and Aaron, when you do these things, when you create these spaces and you pouring into everything, you don't always see the fruit of what you plant right away. And you may never see it, but just know that it's within the good intent that it's going to bring fruit. So I just wanted to share that with you. Keep up the good work. It's needed. It's needed. Okay. I just wanted to share that before I go.
100.
100. For sure. Trust me, I was a hot ass mess. And I'm just being honest. Yeah. And I can say that now. At a time, just dealing with trauma coming up and not knowing what to do with it and how to process it. And I can just remember, I called them my life just they were pouring for a minute, or and I remember times as you were talking, I didn't always double back and say thank you, even though I knew it was my lifeline. But just kind of being a lifelong runner and just leaving situations, just like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to process this kindness, and just leaving. So I just want you to know it's not all. Don't think that it's not appreciated, and sometimes we never ever get to say thank you, just a prayer like thank you for the person who helped me. So I just want you to know that, okay? What you're doing is not in vain. It's not. It never will be. Okay? So I gotta head out. I gotta go to another room. But thank you.
Let me ask you a question, Felicia. Could you right before we go, could you take 30 seconds with us to take a couple more deep breaths before you go?
For sure.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you, Felicia. All right, here we go. And so, everybody, as we wind down this experience, we talked about the power of just a simple and refreshing breath. And so what I want to do, and I want to do this with Felicia and everybody here because it's just so important to me, so vital before we move on to next experiences. So we're going to take 5 deep breaths in, and we're going to exhale. We're going to try to go through the nose, if you have the ability to go through that, and exhale through the mouth. 5 for 5M, y'all. Let's do it. And so, everybody, I invite you, along with me, to take a deep breath in and out. Second deep breath, inhale through the nose and out through the mouth. 3 is a charm. Deep breath in and out. Take another deep breath in and out. And on this final breath, let's take a deep one in, and we're gonna flush out anything. We're gonna relax our nerves. Even as exciting as this experience has been, we're gonna bring it down, and we're gonna relax to give ourselves that moment before we move to other experiences, especially if they're high energy, or especially in our excitement. So let's take one final deep breath in and out. So I would usually do that at the very end, but Felicia, I wanted to get that in with you before we wrapped up this experience so you can go on your way, because we wish you the most wonderful as you go take your light and take it and shine it in so many places. We love you, Felicia.
Love you too. Thank you, brother, for always knowing what we need, even if we don't. And thank you. I needed to take that breath. So thank you for being obedient, because I think you sense that too, somehow, somewhere, subconsciously. Thank you.
Hey, look. Hey, Felicia, right before you leave, this should be our last words together. This right here.
I make time for you. Don't even play. Make time.
This is what I want to do, and this is so fun. This takes me back to the 90s. In fact, let's all do this together. For everybody that was a fan of the Martin Lawrence Show, or at least a fan of this one funny gesture where they would do the group hug, and we all breathe together. Let's do it. Let's do the huddle. So here we go. On 3, everybody, I'm going to take one last deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, no. That's not. I gotta get your mics over. I feel like I was by myself. Here we go. And if you're in the audience, we excuse you. We know you. We can't hear you breathe. Your breath. But take it with us. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Let's get it.
That is good. I don't know if that's I'm feeling real powerful.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
Felicia, we love you so much.
I love you too. I do too. And I wish you all amazing week. I will be in a accountability in the morning. So I will see you then.
Yay. See you soon, Felicia. Take care now. Out here in these clubhouse streets. Be careful. Take a deep breath when you need to.
Bye. Everybody take care. See you in a bit.
All right.
Bye, lady.
Oh man, I tell you all, this is what I live for, literally and figuratively. And in that same vein, if any of this experience, today, and I mean, we have so many good times here. Again, every day, every day, I'm here every morning on Clubhouse doing this same thing, standing in accountability, sharing space, taking a moment, having a laugh, just loving on people. So if any of my Clubhouse experiences, if they entertain you, educate you, or they inspire you in any way, you want to help me to keep holding these fabulous spaces, where we can just take a deep breath and decompress, then you can do so by looking at the information that's in my bio. And so other than that, this music again that you heard in the background here, all the songs that you heard today, every last one of them, if you just click on my bio, click on Instagram, click on the top link in my bio, all this music you can go ahead and take on with you as well, because it's right where you're already listening to your favorite music. So all you got to do is just hit the add button. You'll be able to take this piece, which is in the background. This is my original song called Breath of Life. Before this, I played my song Home, and another song that's called Serenity. And then before that, Yellows of Spring. So I just want to say that I wish you all the best today. Tomorrow, as far as what's to come, every morning, Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 10:30, I'm here along with a lot of my wonderful accountability family for the AP Morning Show every morning. So you can join us here tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Turn your notifications on if you haven't already. And before we go, I want to say thanks again to Tamika and T. Thank you for hanging out, listening in, making this a part of your morning relaxation experience. And last but not least, I just like to, I want to say again, hello to Trish, because one of the things I like to do is connect with people in any way possible. So I sent out a bunch of messages to a bunch of people who in this app are connected to emotional intelligence, because I continue to build my tribe. And so Trish, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And thank you so much for sharing and for what you shared. I also want to thank Brandon for coming out and hanging out in the room. Yes. So on that tip, I'm going to say, last but not least, if there's anyone who like to open up their microphones, anyone who like to open up their microphones, as we say bye-bye and go about our day, you can just open up your microphone so we can all say one final take care and affirmation. So take care, everybody. And
Take care. Thank you.
oh yeah. And 2:30. What, 2:30, right, Heather?
Yes.
2:30. Y'all can join me to continue to have relaxation, fun, kicking back, good vibes, releasing some goddamn stress. You could join me because I'm going to be with Heather. We're going to be hanging out for the Vinyl and a Red Cup experience. OMG, right here on Clubhouse.
Thank you.
Brought to you live on Clubhouse. We're going to have fun. Heather, I can't wait to see you then. And everybody else. Karen, thank you again for sharing. Thank you for just being you. Thank you. Andy, Renee, thank you so much for all that you shared, for affirming me in this space, and for knowing that it's a safe space in order to be able to share. Trish, thank you so much for the gems. Thank you so much for your presence. Tamika and T. Everybody, have a great day today, and I'll see you real soon. Be careful out here in these clubhouse streets now. Be careful. We didn't do all this work for nothing, for you just to go on over to the room where they yelling and screaming, and then you all triggered again and shit. I love you all so much, and I can't wait to see you all again.
Love you, lady.
All right then. Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Yes. So much good, so much good, so much good. So much good in every experience.